Welcome, everyone. This is the webinar between Home and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy and Tokeet. So, as many of you know, we're integrated. We're actually one of the first PMSs that were integrated with the Homes and Villas channel. And we've been very supportive of this channel. We've been always basically just trying to do as much as we can in order to help our property managers to leverage this channel, which is a very special channel. It has a lot of potential, and with this webinar, we hope to basically help everyone understand the opportunities that there are with the Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy. So, first of all, I'd like to introduce the speakers on this webinar. So, correct me if I'm butchering your names, guys. I'm sorry for that. So, we have Parag Malhotra, who is the manager of international account management. And then we have Mrinalini Sharma Maha, director of international account management. So welcome, guys.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Great. So should I go through the agenda, or do you guys want to take it over from here?
We'll take it over if that's all right.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, perfect. So welcome everyone to the webinar, and thank you, Akis and Emmanuel, for having us join you on this webinar. So today, just a quick agenda of the things that we'll talk about. We'll start by giving you a little bit of an overview of what the Homes and Villas brand by Marriott Bonvoy is. And then we'll go into some of our metrics of how we measure performance and guest feedback. Then we'll dig a little bit deeper, talking about how do we improve guest voice. At Marriott, we have a big push on, intent to recommend and how our guests perceive the stays and the partnership, in terms of like moving forward when we have new, opportunities opening up with our guests. And then we'll finish off with some insights from Marriott's 95 plus years of operational excellence. So taking you into a little bit of visibility of how Marriott has been the #1 hospitality company in the world, and what are the operational excellence guidebooks that we play with. Next slide, please. All right, we can go to the next slide.
Okay.
Perfect. So I'll start off by kind of giving a little bit of an overview of the Homes and Villas brand by Marriott Bonvoy. So we are a division of Marriott International, as you are aware, which is one of the largest chains of hotel companies in the world. This particular brand was founded in May of 2019, which was as a result of doing a lot of deep dive into the short-term rental industry by Marriott and figure out how we can have alternate stay options for our guests who would like some larger spaces, bigger spaces, more customized spaces compared to the hotel rooms that we offer around the globe. At the moment, we currently have 180,000 plus homes on the platform, which are bookable. And we work with about 1,300 plus property managers across the globe. We are currently in 80 plus countries and territories, so our footprint is pretty wide. And one of the unique features of our footprint with the Homes and Villas brand is that we tend to be in markets where we don't actually have a Marriott hotel. So there are, some unique markets such as Fiji, for example, where you wouldn't find a Marriott property, but you would find Homes and Villas. So it definitely helps to kind of like get that expansion if you're looking for Marriott level excellence. And then in terms of cities globally, we're in about 10,000 plus cities on a global basis. There are three key areas that I want to quickly point out. We don't work with every single partner that comes across in terms of, wanting to partner with HBMB. We work with a few hand-selected partners who go through a very specific due diligence process to be onboarded with HBMB. HBMB is the acronym we use for Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy. It is an award-winning program. We've gotten several awards in many different fields. Whether it's a Shorties Stay Award that happens annually, we've gotten that a couple of times, and then various other awards across the globe. And one other caveat that we want to point out is we play in the premium and luxury section. So we don't focus on budget or economy stays, and we stay within the premium and luxury sections, which we'll talk about in the next couple of slides. Next slide, please. Perfect. And maybe if you can just hit it again, we'll have some things that pop up. Yeah. So in terms of sort of what is the Marriott ecosystem, right? So when I said, we come within a very specific niche to Marriott Bonvoy, what is Marriott Bonvoy as an offering, right? Marriott Bonvoy is made up of all these different things that you see here on the circles, right? The first thing is the traditional hotels that you're all aware of, the Marriotts, the Westins, the W's, the St. Regis's of the world, right? So they are your regular hotels, just like how you would, and we range them from every category: premium, luxury, super luxury. Then we have the extended stay hotels, which are more for longer stays, right? So we've got studio res, downstay suites, so those kind of categories. I'm just going to pop back over onto the left side. We do some strategic partnerships, both at our hotel levels, but also in homes and villas, with an example of Uber, Starbucks, airline programs, and the likes. And then we really focus in on inspiring experiences. That is one of the things that the Marriott Bonvoy loyalty program is known for, right? So we have curated tours and activities. We focus in on special collections like the yacht collection, creating memories and moments. So for example, sending tickets to our most loyal customers to the Taylor Swift concert, for example, right? And we've got the boutiques program. Then we have partnerships with our credit cards and insurance companies like American Express, Weather Promise, Allianz. And the last but not the least, where homes and villas fits in, is the residential ecosystem, right? So residential is, as we all know, the short-term rental industry, curated homes, customized homes for each particular market, keeping the ethos of the actual city and location where these homes are situated. So homes and villas falls into that brand, under that realm of residential, along with Apartments by Marriott Bonvoy and Sonder, which is our most recent launch. Next slide, please. Perfect. So let's now talk about what is our target audience at Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy, right? So when we think of who our target audience is, the first thing that comes to mind is loyalty, right? So the HBMB offering is primarily for our Marriott Bonvoy loyal guests who have a gold standard or above. Those are the guests that most book with us because they are able to earn and redeem their points. They have promotions throughout the year, which they are able to take participation in. And that's basically the main category that buys into our program. The age group is definitely the 35 to 54. So not your young crowd, but well-established sort of folks who have a little bit of gray in terms of age. Where our target audience is usually households with children. So married, so family folks are the ones that get attracted to the HBMB brand. They're generally high earners in the income group of USD 150K or above and college educated, right? So this is sort of the subset of what kind of audience gets attracted to HBMB. And we're very proud of the fact that 96% of Homes and Villas bookings are made by Marriott Bonvoy members. Why is this important for you or for this webinar? Is that because we have such a high percentage of bookings that are coming specifically from the Marriott Bonvoy members, these Marriott Bonvoy members are not going to any other platform to book, right? So you will find them primarily, or let's say solely on HBMB platform. Next slide, please. Perfect. So I'll dive a little bit into how do we evaluate performance and how do we interpret our guest feedback. So if you move on to the next slide, one of the things that we do at HBMB in order to ensure that we are keeping up with the brand of Marriott International is to make sure that we're taking feedback very seriously, right? So at the end of every single reservation that is hosted by any one of our partners, the guest gets a survey to fill out, which we call in our language ITR, which is intent to recommend. Yeah. So what this basically is, how likely is the guest to recommend this home rental experience to a friend or another associate in their network, right? So the survey has a series of questions which are ranked from scale of 1 to 10. And given that we are very rigor, we have a lot of rigor in the way we look at these comments. Only if it is a 9 or a 10 does that mean anything to us. If it is anything less than a 9 or a 10, that's essentially a 0 in word of Marriott. Why do I tell you this? Is that we take this intent to recommend extremely, extremely seriously. And we want to make sure that the experiences we are providing and our partners are providing are aligning with our ethos of this kind of focus on quality, which is that as long as it is between 9 and 10, you're a 1. Anything below that, it is not a 1, it's a 0. What is this impact of ITR? It indicates our guest loyalty. Will they come back again? Will they book with us again? Will you get that revenue again in the future? It reflects our guest satisfaction. Again, there is a brand value that comes with being a partner with Marriott, and also something that we want to uphold with every single reservation that we offer. So we ask our guests how satisfied they were with those, with their experience, and of course, use it as a way to drive new bookings, right? So guests return, they recommend us to others, word of mouth, and that's how we grow, right? When we know we've got a 9 and 10, we know that that guest is coming back and they are recommending us to their family and friends, right? So ITR means more repeat stays. It means more recommendations, which leads to more money in our bank. Perfect. And then here's kind of like a high-level overview on what our HMC guest voice performance criteria is. So for 2025, we've got these ranges that you can see up top on the slide, in the red, yellow, the white, and the green, right? So when a guest fills out the survey, what it creates for our partners, our home management companies, which are the HMCs, is a score, right? It's a score from 0 on a scale of 0 to 100. So just kind of like how if you were to take a test or an exam, you'd be graded out of 100. This is what it is, right? Generally, the way we look at the averaging of these scores is it's very self-explanatory, as you can see here. As long as you're in the white or the green, you're doing all right, right? So 56 and above is usually our target, right? Now, our targets move a little bit depending on the continents that we have, but on average, 56 is that we're doing all right, that we're doing solid, right? And we want the ITRs to remain above that, right? And then below that, then you get into these graded categories. So what is, and I'll go from C, D to F. So basically a C is an ITR of 50, and 2 of the 6 home rental experiences, the survey questions were less than 50. For a D, the ITR was less than 50, and 3 out of the 6 home rental experience survey questions were less than 50. So that's half, right? And then F, the ITR was less than 50, and 4 out of the 6 home rental experience survey questions were less than 50. So F is that red zone that you see here that says below 50. That's where we never want to be, because that's when we start putting in some curation efforts with our partners, trying to understand, what is it that needs improvement in ensuring that we can bring these up. So this is kind of like just to give you a sense of, how those guest surveys get converted into the ITR or the intent to recommend performance range for our partners. Perfect. So on here, now after looking at all this data, you must be wondering what is the importance of this ITR and how does it benefit you as our partner, right? So anytime that you have a score of 56 and above, which is that green and the white and the green zone that we saw in the last slide, right? What does it do is it opens up a lot of access to Marriott's marketing activations for our partners, right? So as a brand company, we do a lot of activations throughout the year, whether it is promotions, whether it is, sending specific targeted emails, hyper-targeted emails to our guests about certain market, highlighting HMCs on a spotlight throughout the year via LinkedIn and other social media channels. if you have an ITR of 56 and above, meaning you are in that white or the green zone, you get access to all of these activation efforts that we can do. We get your homes listed in areas where there's the highest opportunity to get booked and get the conversions, right? So then what happens is with a high ITR like that, you are able to work with one of your account managers and they can help to see what is the best collection that can be best suited for you. We have some curated collections. Right now, we've recently launched our surf collection. There's social media campaigns that we have going on throughout the year. There's email campaigns that I mentioned. And so having that ITR really opens up this world of like those marketing activations that can lead to high value, high dollar amount conversions for our partners. And if in case the partners have a score of 46 or below, which I was mentioning to you is that red zone, that's when we start our curation efforts with our partners. So there will be a performance review, there'll be internal teams to implement plans and actions, and there'll be kind of like a targeted way and standards that we need to set. You won't have access during that time frame to the marketing activations, unless, of course, over the course of the curation efforts, you're able to get into that white or the green zone. But the bottom line is that all teams, they work together to review our partners' accounts. Now, you might say, sometimes, a guest might leave an unfair review or you had a different point of view, and that is very genuine, and we definitely understand that happens. And so that's why this bottom part is really important, because we want to make sure that we hear our partner's side of the story as well, right? We don't make decisions in isolations, and we also don't make any kind of decisions by just reading the guest surveys, right? When the guest survey comes in and it is 46 or below, or it's below that 56 mark, we do reach out to our guests to ask them what happened and to hear that side of the story as well. And sometimes it could be the case that, it was genuinely nothing that our partners could have done. And in that case, we make sure that we are not letting that one negative impact their entire score, right? So it's a very customized approach to quality and to this ITR bit. And we want to make sure that we're setting both our partners and ourselves up for success, and just focusing in on that repeat customer to make them keep coming back to us. Perfect. Now I'll hand it over to Parag to guide us a little bit more in depth on improving guest voice.
Thank you, Maha. Let's move into how we improve the guest voice, which is a critical part of delivering 5-star service. At Marriott, we use a balanced approach, that combines proactive and reactive strategies. This means we are not just waiting for feedback, we're actively seeking it out and acting on it. By balancing quality assurance, ongoing training, and open communication, we ensure that every guest opinion is valued and used to drive improvement. This approach helps us adapt quickly to changing expectations and maintain our reputation for excellence. So I'll give you some context about, proactive measures. Our proactive measures are all about preventing issues before they happen and maintain high standards. We conduct over 20,000 curations each month through our in-house curations tailored to specific partners and markets. This ensures consistent quality across all our properties. We just want to be consistent while curating each home. That's why we have a very high level skilled staff with us, who works on the curations, every day in and out, right? So quality assurance training is ongoing, helping our teams to stay up to date with the latest standards. We also encourage teamwork, partnering with our other departments and using feedback from HMCs to discuss any nuances and any areas of improvement we should upgrade, because once we set standards, it's not that we are very rigid. We listen to our partners and we see how can we get better and improve the listings on our channel. And then we also have operations checkpoints where we reject listings, analyze the reasons, and plan steps for recovery. Just to give you an instance, for example, if a listing is rejected for maybe all the pictures are not uploaded, or all the public areas, pictures are not uploaded. So we go back to our partner, tell them the reason that why that particular property was rejected and how they can rectify. Till the time we have all the pictures and the information needed, we are always happy to work with our partners to get the inventory live on our channel. And then what Maha mentioned the previous slide about the ITR. So Medallia is the training tool which is provided to our partners about loyalty expectations and how to respond to guest surveys. We also explain how scoring works and how to use survey data to improve. And this all is done, the Medallia training for the reviews is all done during onboarding for our partners. And we also understand communication is key. We highlight the benefits of newsletters, which we share every month to our partners and ensure everyone has access to brand standards. This keeps everyone aligned and informed. Next slide, please.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. Then I'll talk about the, Akis, can you go to the reactive measures slide, which is slide 14?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
sorry.
one. Thank you. Of course, with the best planning, issues can still arise, right? That's where our reactive measures come in. Every month, we review and remove homes that fail to meet our quality standards using both survey scores and guest comments to ensure accuracy. As highlighted in the previous slides, that every survey is taken very seriously. What does it mean if the survey is is a low score, which straight away goes to our operations team, where they review the guest feedback, get in touch with the HMC, see where the problem was, and if quality is actually a problem of that particular home, we straight away have to remove that home, because to ensure that this home is not booked again and any other married guest does not have the same experience. If a HMC performance drops, we pause the acceptance of new homes as well, right, till the time the score improves. So not only if the score is not meeting our expectations, we stop the marketing activations, we also stop adding new inventories, and help our partners to reach to that level, where we also do some regular ops workshop, which can bring our partners at pace and achieve that benchmark which we have set for the reviews. We also are very stringent on regulatory compliance, which is strictly enforced. If a listing is missing required licenses or permits, it's rejected till the time we don't have that, back on that particular listing. We also conduct regular performance reviews, with operations and account managers together to analyze data, trends, and scoring, and then create strategies and goals for improvement. So every particular partner is given a hand curated experience along with their account manager to educate and train them that how they can increase their performance on Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy channel. If a partner continues to underperform, we regularly do our bi-weekly updates, if necessary, determine, the future paths, that how can we improve that particular partner, and we also ensure, and this also helps us to ensure, we have the best of the partners remaining on our platform. Next slide, please. Thank you. So in this slide, I'll talk about the insights from Marriott 95 years of operational excellence. Marriott legacies of more than 95 years in hospitality is the foundation of our operational excellence. Over the decades, we have learned that consistency, attention to detail, and a culture of continuous improvement are essential for delivering five-star service. Our experience also allows us to anticipate guest needs, set industry benchmarks, and continually raise the bar for quality satisfaction. So, what is the quickest way to learn, from the 95 years of experience is we call the model, which is called the Quick 8. So, Akis, if you can go to the next slide, this is something which is very handy and very popular amongst our partners, where the Quick 8 is truly exceeding guest expectations. If our partners follow this steps. So what are the Quick 8? I'll talk about one by one on this. So transparent listing accuracy. We have seen that the information which are upload on the listing is if that's transparent, right? Which addresses the pain points like air conditioning, neighborhood, noise levels. So guest knows exactly what to expect before they arrive. We also emphasize a lot on strong pre-arrival communication, where we set clear expectations about service offerings and gather as much as information possible from the guests to personalize their stay. So we encourage our partners to have a very strong pre-arrival communication. Also, something we do at hotels, personalized experience. We act on the golden nuggets guest shared before arrival, celebrating special occasions, surprising them with thoughtful touches, probably asking them on the pre-arrival communication if there's any occasion they're celebrating, a birthday or an anniversary, or just a reunion. So a small effort, can give a personalized touch, which can improve your ratings. Warm and genuine check-in. We greet guests warmly, use their names, make them feel truly welcome for the moment they arrive. Show interest, listen carefully to what guest says, repeat back important details, and show that we are actively engaged in their experience. Sometimes it's about listening, right? So this is where it brings most value. By anticipating guest needs, we also look for opportunities to help guests before they ask, being proactive and empathetic. Be attentive and show empathy. We're always available to assist. And if guests mention concerns or special requests, do express empathy and show them that you're here to help. And then lastly, express gratitude. A simple thank you can leave a lasting impression and contribute to customer loyalty. So these were the quick 8 guides, and now I'll talk about most common guest feedback, which is on the next slide we get from our guest, which will also help you to improve, on the reviews. So guest feedback is invaluable for improvement. The most common issues we hear about include unsafe surrounding areas or poor home condition, especially cleanliness, maintenance. Guests notice everything, from furniture wear, tear to plumbing and electrical problems and discrepancies between photo and reality. What we have seen and observed in the past during our market visits and, while we are doing the reviews, that once a property is built, the owner and the partner, invest a lot, at the time of the new construction is done. But most of the time they miss on maintaining the standards, on the upkeep, right? So that is something which we really emphasize, that if you build an excellent product, just ensure you invest a little extra on your small things, because guests will notice. Also, we've noticed that if there's a delay in assistance, guest does not really appreciate that. So guests expect prompt complaint handling, corrective action, and adequate compensation. They pay close attention to building cleanliness, condition, and neighborhood appearance. A lack of kitchen or bathroom amenities, right? Sometimes it's very important to have basic amenities or washrooms like soap, shampoo, in the washroom, where guest notices that. I understand that this is not an in hotel experience, but basic amenities, like I mentioned, should be a part of the amenities provided, which will impact the guest experience. So next slide, please. So other common feedback we hear from the guests is air conditioning, where people, especially flying in from warmer temperature areas, we recommend our partners to write if there is a benchmark on the air control, right? That should be mentioned on the description. Wi-Fi signal is again the second largest pain point we observe, where guests are frustrated by weak Wi-Fi. We recommend updating listing description with signal capacity and average speed, as this can also influence booking decisions, where an individual wants to book or a family wants to book a vacation, right? That's where they will look at. Something about malodorous air. Proper ventilation is essential. We have regular cleaning of the air filters, use air fresheners, and consider sensory experiences to enhance comfort. Something also to notice is elevator size and functionality. This is very common in Europe, where there are older buildings, right? And elevators may be small, or there are no elevators, right? Which can be inconvenient for a family group with large luggages, heavy luggages, right? So listings should clearly state whether a lift is available or not, what is the size. By addressing these details, the guest makes informed decisions and avoid disappointment. Next slide, please. Then we have the learn model. When a guest has a concern, we always, use the learn model in our Marriott world, right? And every employee, starting from the first person to the back end, is aware about this model, which help improve guest expectation. So, what is the learn model? It's very simple. It's learn, empathize, apologize, respond, notify, right? So listen to the guest expectations, their concerns without any interruption. This will help the HMCs understand their perspective and the specific issues if they're facing. Now, empathize with the guest, acknowledge the guest feelings and concerns, showing that we understand and care about their experience. Also, a small apology, offer a sincere apology for any inconvenience or frustration, because an apologies can do wonders. Respond, take a proper action to address the guest concern. That could be taking a follow-up from the guest if there was an issue. If that issue is solved, maybe your Wi-Fi was not connecting upon arrival. Once that's fixed, just go and check with the guest that if that is fixed now, right? Keep the guest informed about any actions being taken from your side. Keeping the guest informed is always helpful. This helps in crucial building trust. Also, this entire model of learn will prevent any negative experience you will have from the guest. So to wrap it up, I want to thank you for your attention and engagement. If you have any questions, me and Maha are there to address the questions. And also at the last, we also have a QR code. If you are interested in partnering with us, please scan this QR code on the slide. We really look forward to working together to deliver 5-star service and create memorable guest experiences.
Thank you, Parag. We have some questions, if I understand correctly. So let's hear the first one.
So on the Quick 8 framework, you walk us through the Quick 8 steps, right? So which do you think are the most commonly overlooked by property managers, and what impact does that have?
There are quite a lot of small things which are overlooked by the property managers, right? Because for them it's like once they onboard a property, then they don't really focus on the quality. But the most common feedback, so what we hear and the issues what we encounter is that the listing accuracy is something which is not really transparent for that particular property. If they have common negative feedback, which means that either the description is not detailed or explained enough on the website or on the property description. Also what we have seen that if a property description is not very detailed, the chances of getting booked of that particular home is something very less, right? So we emphasize a lot on transparent listing accuracy. That's why that is the first point, right? And the second thing which we encounter a lot is the 24/7 support, where if a guest is stranded, imagine you walk into an unknown country for the first time with your family, and most of the European countries have a self check-in service, right, where the key is already there, and then you're not able to access the lock, right? They want to contact the 24/7 support, right? And if the guest is not able to make connection to that number, that is something which is very frustrating, because they're left stranded in the middle of the street. It could be odd hours with their families, with their kids, which is unsafe. So that is the second most common feedback we heard. And the last is the pre-arrival communication. We've seen where the pre-arrival communication is not done thoroughly within the guest, with the guest. That's where a lot of communication arise, because pre-arrival communication means we can get to know if there's any occasion, what time the guest is coming, if the guest is coming with the kids and families, so that you can advise if there's any instructions to be given. So these are the three common feedback we hear from the guest, from the Quick 8.
Thank you so much for that one. Understood. So yeah, and then you also mentioned cities like Seville and San Sebastian achieving high ITR scores. So what specific operational practices are helping those cities stand out, and can smaller operators realistically adopt those same practices?
Ma, do you want to take that one, or should I?
Sure. Yeah, I can take that one. So So I think like for there's certain things that we see that, size is not a criteria, right? So whether you're a small operator or a large operator, it's more about the quality of attention that we can give to our guests, right? So one of the reasons I think we see certain cities particularly be more successful than others is because the operators in those particular destinations are very specific in terms of kind of the things that Parag mentioned about listing optimizations, making sure that they're setting realistic expectations with the guest, right? So what's not okay is if the photos that you sent us were maybe like 3 years ago and they looked very, very new and all the furniture looked really great, but then it's been 3 years, things have kind of worn down a little bit. There hasn't been a lot of investment to revise that furniture, but the expectation we're setting through the listings we're putting forward is still creating that disappointment for our guests, right? So whether a large operator or small, I think the idea is let's just be very, very candid in what we're showing to our guests, right? A large part of our portfolio gets booked, like I said, by the Marriott Bonvoy members, but they are also mainly coming from the US market, right? So in terms of like, if you don't have, because it's an ancient building and there's no elevator and you have to carry your luggage up, 2 flights of stairs, if that's accurately mentioned, then, you're able to get success, right? The other thing is, as soon as a guest is facing an issue, right? Now, the expectation is not that you're there at that exact moment within 2 minutes to go and solve it. It's about keeping an open and honest line of communication, right? Sometimes we notice that partners where they falter is when they completely ignore a message that comes in from the guest, or they reply to the message after 4 or 5 hours, or even the next day sometimes, right? Even if you can say something as simple as, "Thank you for reaching out. We're looking into this matter and we'll be back in touch with you." That sometimes is more than enough to let our guests know that, okay, there is somebody on the other side. There's somebody who's listened to my request and, they'll get back to us. So totally understood if you're a small operator and you don't have that kind of bandwidth to address every single request when it comes in. Just keeping even a small line of communication open oftentimes goes a really, really long way.
Also to add, Akis and Emmanuel, that because this is something which has come up to me, especially in the European market, where, as a guest, no one wants to listen to no, right? They think that they've paid and then everything should be there, available. So sometimes what happens is that, you can tell no to the guest. That's fine because not everything is available. But offering an alternative is something what we have heard from our partners, best practices. Just an example of an elevator. If the property does not have an elevator and the family guest is traveling with families with heavy luggages, offer a help saying that, okay, we don't have an elevator, but we can send someone, to pick up your luggages, right? If you don't have an elevator, you can't build that overnight, but offering an alternative is always appreciated by the guest, right? And then that's what they, value the most and remember, and that's the experience they take it once they check out from the property.
Great, thank you. And that connects to a question I have. I have a couple of questions. So let's continue the example of the missing elevator. So maybe at the moment where the guest sees the listing, they say, okay, that's fine, it's just 1 floor. But then when they arrive there, it's not okay. It's still 1 floor is a lot when you have luggage and kids. So how do you work with partners to kind of help them prevent those moments? Because it's not just about having a picture or mentioning something, it's also about thinking about how to not get confronted with such challenges.
Akis, in this case, it'll take me back to the same thing, which is saying listing accuracy. I have come across situations in my business visits where I've seen a listing which is on the first floor, an older building without an elevator. The HMC has literally mentioned the number of steps on the description, where they say this is a 20-step elevation, right? If you are having, if you're traveling with heavy luggages, keep us informed 48 hours prior to your arrival so that we can arrange for someone, for your check-in experience. So small things like this, right? Mentioning everything on the description. I know it can be, a lot for large players, but I think this is just one-time job, and it's not only helpful for Homes and Villas channel, right? This will help our partners to get more bookings through other channels as well, right? Because if you have mentioned every detailed, about the property, that is the only way out, to get away from these situations to occur.
Okay, that makes sense. And one question regarding the growth. So you've mentioned case studies where certain partners have seen tremendous growth and repeat bookings, also really significant numbers of repeat bookings. So what do you think enabled that growth? I mean, there's obviously the baseline of doing things correctly, as we've been discussing throughout this webinar, but what is the extra mile, the thing that drives those types of results?
I can mention a few, and then maybe Parag, you can you might have a few others. So I think what we see with our really successful partners, Akis, is the number one thing that when they find success in doing some things, they keep repeating that process over and over again, right? So every time they launch a new market, they will make sure that they're following the same SOPs that they did in the first market, and they're taking the same kind of interest. The training of their staff is done the exact same way in the next market onwards. And we've also seen partners where sometimes they're growing and they follow it for maybe 2-3 markets that they're growing in. They then don't do it for one market and things start falling down, right? So definitely it's like, if you find that formula of success, right? Don't let it just be limited to where your corporate office is based or where you began shop for the first time, right? Let it grow with you, because just by adding more homes in new markets, but not letting your SOPs follow can be something that sets you back, right? One other thing that I'll say, and then pass it over to you, Parag. I think with some of our very successful partners, they take feedback very, very seriously, right? So we of course, like I said, we work with 1,300 plus partners. We find some, when we talk to them, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is great, fine, good information, but then it doesn't really go anywhere, right? Like it's heard, it's digested, but it's not executed, right? But then there are other partners who, and we have a great example of a partner that I'm thinking of in my head, who, in one of our top destinations in Paris, for example, started off with some really bad ITR. And primarily the reasons were because, the quality of the homes were a little bit dated, right? Now, there's nothing you can do about quality of a home that's dated in a city like Paris, because you can't do renovations as easily there, right? But the other thing that they started doing then was really focusing on customized experiences for their guests. So because they couldn't fix the quality of the homes as much as would be needed, they started offering concierge service, right? So they started creating these customized check-ins with the guests, like, hey, you were here with us for 3 nights. You just had your first night. How are things going, right? Is there anything I can get you, like a basket of essentials, something, a grocery run, something like that, right? Really taking a personalized approach, where that there's something on the other end. They might as well keep going and growing with us and keep telling us oh, we can't do anything. That's the quality of the homes we partner with. But they take a different approach of okay, let's focus on something else where we give the guest a wow experience, and then they don't worry too much about the other aspects of things. So really taking that interest, customizing experiences. We genuinely believe at Homes and Villas that what we're offering as an experience, right? So if other aspects of the experience, such as, what we just discussed, like customization, checking in, reinforcing with we are here to help sort of scenarios, can make up for maybe some faltering somewhere else. So I think that's a really good success recipe for some of our high growth partners.
Great. Thank you.
Also, I've personally experienced the home of this particular partner, where I was traveling, and then, it was a very small thing, but it is still, with me, that they kept a handwritten note upon my check-in, in the living room on the table, where they mentioned, it was written in Spanish and English both, but it was a handwritten. It was not a printed letter, and it was just a welcome note, right? That's it. That's it, right? So something of that sort, small things, which is not a lot of cost to the partners, but that stays with me, right? So something of that sort, probably we appreciate, if our partners do that for our guest.
Great. Yeah, that's always, I think everyone likes those little things.
Right.
Okay, great. So first of all, thank you very much for this presentation. I really think that, so because we talk with property managers all day long, and the general idea is that it feels that it's a hassle to always to try and list on a new channel, because every channel has its own policies, its own ways of working, and so on. So in this presentation, I think that we really saw that you guys have like a system, a really clean and well-developed system to support those that fit with your brand identity. And I would invite every property manager to not be afraid to scan the QR code or reach out to you guys or to us, and then we can forward the request. Because your property might be a perfect fit in one of the markets where Homes and Villas is working. So yeah, I would urge everyone to reach out, and then maybe not now, maybe later, or maybe now, depending on the profile of the property.
Thanks so much for having us. We really
Thank you,
appreciate
Maya,
it.
and Marag. Thanks.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Akis and Madam. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.